let's talk on your Kimbos and your Gill and I, and we'll get into brevies. Before we're going to wrap this up, I want to get into your brevies as well. So we'll touch on diet, then we'll get into brevies. But like, what, for the most part, what are you feeding as your Audatria? Let's just say Audatria. What are you feeding your Audatria?
So my Audatria just get grasshoppers, and once a week they'll get a quail egg or a chook's egg, and I'll scramble that, a quick microwave job, and basically I'll calcium powder that egg to make sure that they're getting a decent calcium yield. But majority of the time they just get grasshoppers. If I don't have grasshoppers, I'm lucky. I'm a grasshopper producer here in Australia, so you got
loads.
Yeah. I very rarely run out. But because I sell grasshoppers as a business, sometimes my male, for some unknown reason, every now and then he likes just a handful of crickets. I think he just likes the chase, to be honest. They're in a big cage. They use every inch of that cage, and they pretty much don't stop all day.
You guys got cockroaches over there? I know you've got woodies, like the wood roaches.
We call them woodies. We call them woodies.
Is that?
Yeah, I've got woodies. I've got woodies as well. But you know what? When you've got rock backgrounds, fucking woodies are the worst things ever.
Yeah, I've got
worst things ever.
Yeah, in my Get an Eye enclosure, at night I have to make pitfall traps because I put roaches in, like a couple get away, and then all of a sudden now I have fucking loads of them. So I do roaches and grass. We call them locusts, but for the most part, a lot of my stuff is mainly getting a staple of locusts, and then I'll mix in cockroaches. I have 3 or 4 different species of cockroaches. I don't even nowadays. I used to. I don't even really give my females pinkies after they lay. I'll just give them a calcium soaked roach. I'm not even fussed on giving them pinkies and shit anymore.
Yeah, so I will, if she just lays a clutch, generally I'll try and get a couple of like fuzzy mice or something into her, usually 1 or 2, just to spring her back a little bit quicker. And, because for all those people that know, skinny Audatria, when they lay a clutch of eggs, they literally look like a bag of bones. Like they look
like they've been run over. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And, so, just a couple of rodents generally to bounce into her just the day of or the day after, and then basically, it's back to bugs. I don't do it all the time. I don't always chuck in the rodents all the time, but if I've got them on hand, because I don't breed rodents, I have to buy them.
Yeah.
So if I've got them, then I'll give it a crack. I'd like to get quail, but they're just too hard to get where I live.
Yeah,
and I don't want to breed another fucking animal, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been contemplating breeding quail. My mum has a crazy chicken obsession and has like 22 chickens. So I've been trying to convince her to get quail so I can steal the quail, but that's yet to be done. But I like what Fryzie. I wanted to say Fryzie, but Fryzie said earlier about reptiles in the wild live on fuck all. I don't feed every day. Often I have sporadic feeding schedules where I get like 2 or 3. So what I do is I don't have a set number and I don't have a set day. For example, let's just say my Ackies, I'll throw in 2 or 3 grasshoppers and then they don't get fed for a couple of days. And then I'll throw in like 6 or 7 and they don't get fed for 5 or 6 days. Then they'll get 1 or 2. But then again, I ramp up. So like in the summer, I am doing more because I let them fire on all cylinders. But because now I'm learning, I'm not letting them get real cold in the winter. They're just storing that as fat from the summer, and it sustains them through the winter. So I probably
got a perfect head start.
Yeah, so I should either feed them less in the summer or make sure I winter them.
Just winter. Yeah. Shut them down winter.
Yeah,
shut them down. Let them reset. Let them reset. Shut them down in winter.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a feeding schedule? Do you have feeding days, or do you just throw in when the lateral folds looking a little bit skinny, they're a bit more active, like have some bugs?
Nah, I feed my Kimbos every second day, but there might be a day or 2 where I miss a feed. I know when they're hungry because they're running the glass, My grow outs, my babies, I feed my babies every day, or my babies get fed every day. So I've got this theory with reptiles that, obviously it's not the wild, so it's captivity. So we have to provide them with the best. I find that most reptiles, especially when they're young in juvenile form, lizards we're talking, so monitors, skinks, all that sort of stuff, I feed every day or every second day. So my schedule usually is feed every day for the first 3 to 6 months. And then after 3 to 6 months, back it off to every second day. Once they hit adult, you can push it out even more. That's just how I work.
Yeah.
Some of the smaller species, like brevicorda, they will eat every single day as a baby. And, you know, I don't know where they put it, but yeah, I generally will feed my brevies every day, my baby brevies, up until 12 months, and then they'll be pushed out to every second or third day.
Yeah, so I say the same to people. Like when people buy Akis from me, I say you can't feed it enough as a baby, but you have to be careful because as soon as baby to juvenile, that's fine. As soon as you start getting juvenile to sub-adult, they will start to store the fat. So if you don't ease back, like you're saying, from juvenile to sub-adult, they start to get a bit porkier than they should be. And then you're setting them up for failure from the jump, from, like you say, 12, 18 months old onwards.
But it also depends on the food too. If you're here feeding like, you know, meats like mice and shit like that, yeah, of course you're going to cause yourself a disaster. But if you're feeding insects, and the lizard has the right heat and the right cage and it can exercise and do what it can do, it's really hard to make an obese goanna just off insects, especially in the first 12 months with the right setup. In the wrong setup, sure, you can fuck that up real quick.
Yeah. So that's just quickly, because